Hello, in this section we'll be talking about the initial setup for MediaStar. If you did not purchase MediaStar with a netbook and are using your own computer, you need to take some steps to make sure that your MediaStar experience is very smooth. The first of these steps is installing FFD Show. FFD Show is a free codec pack that allows you to play back the most recent audio and video files. The second step is going to the control panel and changing the power options so that your computer never goes to sleep and the hard disk and monitor are never turned off. The third setting is going into your screensaver option and making sure that it is turned off. And the last setting would be turning off Windows automatic updates underneath the control panel. And again, if you bought it with a netbook, all of these steps have already been taken care of for you. Now, you'll notice that when you first open up MediaStar, the window behind the main menu is black. Now, this is completely normal. This is your background or monitor form that displays any videos and images you have during your show. If you intend on using video or images, it's important to move this onto another monitor or a projector. To do this, you need to extend your desktop, and more information is available in the manual. Now, once you've done that, it's important to register the software. To do that, simply hit Help, then Register, and follow the instructions you have here. What you will do is you will copy this product key and send it to us by email, and once we review your payment information, we'll send you a license key, which in turn you will copy into this box, hit Register, and you'll be good to go. Once again, if you bought this with the netbook, this has been taken care of for you. But now let's talk about the different options that we have for MediaStar. The options are accessed by going under Options and Settings. There's a large amount of options, so let's start at the top. You have a choice of what you want to display on the external monitor. This varies from just using a regular solid color to an image or a video loop. To change the setting, simply double-click in this box and select what you want to use. In this case, I'm going to choose a color, and you'll notice that the color matches what I've selected. The same is true for using an image or a video loop. To the right of that, we have the settings for the playback display, and you're able to change the background color and the text color of the display itself. And you do that just by clicking the buttons with the same way we change the color for the background. Now, to the left of that, we have the fade time. The way fading works in MediaStar is it goes from the current volume down to 10% in the time that you have specified here, and then it goes from 10% down to 0 in 1 second. So the total fade time is a combination of what you enter here and 1 second. Below that, we have some other settings. On the right hand side, we have the initial master volume. What the master volume is, it's the entire volume on your computer itself. We generally have it set to 80% just in case that someone bumps something on the stage and you have some room to go up. This is completely independent from the volume on the actual tracks. This allows you to have two sets of controls for your volume, which we find is somewhat important. The transmit to LCD display setting allows you to use one of our remote LCDs so that you do not have to be close to the computer at all times. Enable this to turn on transmitting to the display. If you don't have one, it's generally a good idea to keep this off since there's no reason to transmit to something that you don't have. Below that, we have a setting to fade the video. If you play video and you have this selected, when you fade it out, the video will also fade to black along with fading the audio in it. The setting for using Show Express scenes is one of our legacy DMX settings. Show Express has scenes and macros. Unfortunately, for macros there are only 36. For scenes there are approximately 50. So we give you the option of which one you want to use. There's a setting for PowerPoint Presenter. What that is PowerPoint has a presentation view where it will display the actual show on your monitor screen with the proper setting. But it will display any notes and a copy of the slide on your main screen. That way, if you put any notes into your slides, you're able to access them at will. There's a setting to hide an image after the audio. Sometimes if you have an image during a show and you fade out before you hide that image with a mark, you may want that image to go away, so we give you that option there. There's also an option for an audio waveform, and this is fairly self-explanatory. When you open up an audio or video in the advanced screen, you actually see the waveform going up and down so that you could add marks appropriately on any cues that you might have. The remote setup we'll get to a little bit later. That's going to be last. We have the show timer, which is a simple counting timer that you can use to count up or down. It allows you to gauge how long your show has went. To enable it, just enable the timer, and you could choose what track to start at. We put this here if you have any pre-show music and you don't want to start and your first track. You could change that there. Or if you wanted to count down from a certain time, simply check this box. Now the timer will go until you reach the last track in your playlist. And when that track is finished, the timer will stop, and it will give you an indication of how long you've went. Then we have a setting for cameras. Sometimes you might want to use a live camera during the show. To enable it, simply click the box and then select the camera through this drop down, which is the source. Once you select it, the camera will appear on your background and you'll be able to see yourself live. You have options to fade in and fade out. When you show the camera, you can fade in from black and fade out to black. And you could also auto hide it after the end of every track if you so choose. It's important to note that there's a lot of options here, and there's not a lot of room. So we made everything collapsible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse the other settings, the show timer and the camera, just so I could expand the keypad settings. We provide a random access keypad that allows you to select precisely which track you want at any time. If you have one of those, this is important. If not, then you could disregard this. So if you actually use the keypad and type in a track, you have the option of fading the current track that you're on. You have the option of automatically playing the track that you selected with the keypad. And you have the option of saving the position in the playlist. So for example, if you were on track number 4, and then you go off somewhere else in your playlist, when you finish that song, you will go back to track number 4 if you've queued up at it. If track number 4 was playing, you'll go back to track number 5. We also have options for custom software. This is very rarely used. What this is it allows you to send a keystroke to an open window in case you want to control some third-party software that's not built into MediaStar. And again, this is a fairly advanced setting. If you want to use this, contact support, and we'll be glad to work with you to do what you want to accomplish. Now let's go back to the other settings and talk about the remote setup. What the remote setup is it allows you to control what each button on the remote does at any time. And the two options that you have is when the track is playing and when the track is not playing. And that includes being queued up or paused. Generically, button number 1 will pause when playing and will play when not playing. Button number 2 will fade when you are playing, and will simply go to the next song or next hard mark when you're not playing. Buttons 1 and 2 together will always go to the previous hard mark or previous track. Button number 3 is volume up, button number 4 is volume down, and button 3 and 4 is volume reset. Again, these are fairly advanced settings. If you want to change any of this, either refer to the manual or give support a call. That way we make sure that you get exactly what you want. Alright, so let's close this and let's go to our last option, which is to personalize. We enable a greeting for you, just in the case that you want to, tell yourself to have a great show when you start your playlist, and this is where you turn that on. To enable the greeting, just check the enable greeting box, and then you have 2 lines where to type in a simple greeting, such as have a great show, which is enabled by default. When you play your playlist, this is displayed to you for 4 seconds, and then it goes away. It's a simple amount of flair to get you feeling good about your show. But that is it, and this concludes this tutorial.